to all the people that I've met, all my family and friends. There's no telling who I'd be without them. It's so compelling when we look through that lens. I'm not dwelling on the past, but it's where it all begins. Got my sights where we headed, but now is where we spend all the quality time to write the story how it ends. When you stop writing, that's the end. I'ma never stop learning new things, open to what life brings, hoping that I make it to the places where my heart sings. I can't fake it when I'm truly in my heart song. I can take it, but I'd rather they ain't do me wrong. They can break me, nah, I'd rather it make me strong. But if you cross me twice, I'm gone. I'ma last long till the lights come on. Make it till the sun comes up, it's a new dawn. Trying to get to where I wanna be. Watch me ride this frequency. Hey, hey, trying to get to where I wanna go. Watch me catch this flow. I need a break from Babylon, looking for Avalon. I play the beat, grab a pen, then I travel on to places I ain't been since I had my saddle on. It's time to saddle up though, once I find my flow. There's no telling where we could go, so baby let go. I got something that I wanna show, you know. If you open up your mind, you can find your road. There's many paths, many signs to the finish line. Breaking down the status quo, it's how we get refined. How we find that deeper soul, divine. How we truly become whole, combined with humanity as a whole. We one tribe. I ain't trying to disconnect, trying to live this life. I try to live it with respect for the most high and the most low, cause we gotta balance those. Trying to find a middle ground where they both goes. Trying to get to where I wanna be. Watch me ride this frequency. Hey, hey, trying to get to where I wanna go. Watch me catch this flow. Trying to get to where I wanna be. Watch me ride this frequency. Hey, hey, trying to get to where I wanna go. Watch me catch this flow.
We need joy. Give it up. We need joy. Give it up.
All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Marc, live here on the Intuitive Prospector page, here on Facebook, and streaming elsewhere on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc., etc. How you doing this morning? I hope you are having a wonderful day. I know that it's been a long week for me. Lots of journeys, lots of challenges, lots of um, soul adventures, as I like to say. So this morning, I'm going to talk about one of my articles. I've been doing a lot of writing lately. So doing a lot of practicing Spanish, practicing music, guitar, sound baths, frequency, just working with a lot of healing modalities. And I've been doing a lot of writing. So published my first book. It's called Between Worlds Reflections. And if you want to learn more about any of my articles, the work I'm doing, book a reading, get on my YouTube channel, you can just go right here to marclainhart.com. And this morning, we're going to be talking about one of the articles that I just was published over on Best American Psychics called The Diamonds of Being Alone. And it's something that I had written a while back ago. I've been writing a lot of different articles. And this morning, I was trying to figure out like what do I want to share on today's show, because Metaphysical Meetup on Fridays, starting usually at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I usually sit before I come on live and kind of like tune into what is going on in our world. One of the things I was going to talk about was cultural acceleration, technology, and information, because there's a lot of that that's taking place right now. There's a lot that's going on within our world, a lot of change, a lot of transformation, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of aloneness. And I was like, well, maybe I'll talk about that at a different time in a different place when it feels right. And today it just felt more about talking about being alone. Now, the pandemic really started that a few years ago, and we've been it started in 2020, and pretty much I know people today that are still getting COVID. I just had a friend uh, come down with the symptoms, so COVID is still around. But during that process of transformation, when if you follow my journey, you follow my work, I always said that this global pandemic that literally shut the world down. I'm not going to get into the politics of it because everybody is so on divided on what's right, what's wrong. Right thing was done, wrong thing was done, and that's just the craziness of our world, right? But what it did is it transformed society to what we call the digital transformation. Because before the global pandemic, it was theory, it was hypothesis that the internet could sustain that amount of people, the Wi-Fi, the internet itself could sustain that amount of people going and doing their jobs from home. And it did. It actually worked. And the internet hasn't been around for more than 30 years. Some of you may be watching have never known the world without the internet. I know the world pre-internet and the internet today, and the future is going to change drastically based on digital transformation. I'm coming live to you through my Zoom room, right? I was using Zoom long before for my development groups, long before the pandemic hit. So it wasn't really much of a change. But what I did say was that we're not going to go back to what normal was pre 2020, 2019, 2020. It was our roaring 20s, because normal wasn't working for a lot of people. And we're seeing that even my own journey. It's been a long week because I've gone through some, transformations myself, and that's life, right? Life teaches us to, embrace change and become aware of things that we can't control in our lives, right? But that's why I always have Buddha right up here as a reminder. You need to let that shit go. And the reason I'm wearing my diamonds hat today, this is my, you can get this at my online store if you want, but it's about helping you find the diamonds within and the many gems and diamonds that are all around us, because diamonds are created under extreme pressures. A diamond is a piece of coal in the darkness, and it's only under those extreme pressures that it turns into something brilliant, something bright, something worth value, right? And a lot of you have that diamond within. Maybe you're feeling the pressures. Maybe you're feeling alone. Maybe you're feeling isolated. So this morning, well, at least this morning here in Seattle, here in my studio, I thought I would have a conversation about the diamonds of being alone, the diamonds of looking at the positive aspects, because being alone is often misunderstood and stigmatized in our society. Many people associate being alone with loneliness and isolation, but it's also essential to recognize that being alone can be a valuable and an enriching experience. This article that I wrote, we explore of being alone, the benefits, and how to cultivate a healthy relationship with solitude. So, a lot of times we are creatures of habit, we are creatures of touch, we are creatures of social interactions. And so that global pandemic really kind of flipped the world on its head, right? And that also, if you are a student of history like I am, I do a lot of readings each and every week. With my podcast, I get a lot of books. We had just had a fabulous show called The Rocking Chair Prophet. And it was a great guest, great book. It's a novel where a gentleman by the name of Daniel goes through a horrific, we've all had our trials and our tribulations and our, what I like to call the TNT, the traumas and the tragedies that blow up our lives and put us in a different direction, like it did for me and my brothers years ago. But this gentleman, Daniel, loses severely. He's impacted with trauma at such a level. I don't want to give too much details in case you want to get it, because the author, I don't have it. It's in my bedroom because I'm still reading it. It's a great book. And this author has written over, she's like 37 books. He sold over 50 million copies. You can go to my page and get that information for Inspired Living. But Daniel goes through a process of great tragedy, and he pretty much leaves society and he goes to the mountains. And for years, the rumblings of this, this hermit, this guru up in the woods, and then comes back and he sits in his old friend's rocking chair to give wisdom and advice from being in solitude, from being alone. And he becomes this, spiritual guru, and people start coming to him from all over the world for messages, for healing. And it reminded me, to be honest with you, a lot of the journey, when I was, in my late 20s, when my brothers made their passings from murder and brain cancer in the same week. The diagnosis and the murder and the funerals and the investigations. It was a lot to take on. It transformed me, and I kind of have that I could relate to what Daniel was going through with what he lost and the suffering and the heavy grief. And people are so different when it comes to grief. I had people that I didn't even know that were so kind and caring, and people I'd known for years just kind of disappeared into the woodwork because they thought our family was cursed based on the amount of tragedy that we were going through. It was actually quite sad. It was actually quite eye-opening. It was quite a soul adventure, to be honest with you. And so that's really, how I started to become the intuitive prospector. And the name itself is my trademark name, because it's about all of us using our intuition, but it's also about prospecting for the many mysteries, the many unknowns of life. And we as humans, we try to claim that we know it all, but Plato reminds us people that know it all, that claim to know it all, know nothing at all. And so for me, it was about getting out, going back to nature, having my Forest Friday hikes, going into isolation, going into solitude for many, many years, to where then my spiritual practice really started to be born under the Intuitive Prospector umbrella. Here on Facebook, here on my YouTube channel, my podcast, which is now a rated top inspirational podcast to listen and follow to. We've been on the air for 8 seasons now. And really just the transformations of embracing that solitude, embracing that isolation as something to listen to the voice, listen to that inner calling. So this morning, I'm going to talk about the diamonds of being alone. It's an article I wrote for Best American Psychics. I've also written one about the pineal gland, which is, the pineal gland lies right behind the third eye. So if you ever want to identify your third eye, what you do is you take your index finger and your thumb, and you put your thumb to your nose like that. Do a side hustle there, side value. And then take your thumb to your nose and your index finger, keep the space. And that's your third eye. And the third eye is tied to a pineal gland, that's in the middle of the brain. And we call it the third eye here because the gland itself is surrounded in liquid. It's very much similar to our eyes, and it uses a lot of blood flow from the heart. It actually, I believe, anatomy and physiology, it uses the second most blood flow coming out of the aorta off the backside of the heart up to the brain, right? So if you follow my journey, you follow my work, I always say we have 3 eyes, 2 to look, 1 to see. So I've written an article based on consciousness, based on the pineal gland. This article, The Diamonds of Being Alone, is really to look at the benefits and how to cultivate a healthy relationship with solitude, because solitude will help you. There's a lot of voices out here. There's a lot of noise out here. Like I said, we are in a cultural acceleration, and it's draining. It's exhausting. There's so many things that are hitting us, our adrenals, our nervous system, our mind, our eyes, our words that we're speaking, social media, news media outlets. It's like literally drinking from a fire hose. And to me, that has just become, over time, it's become really exhausting, and it's something that I've really started to pull back, even with my practice of spiritualism and psychic and mediumship, and doing more writing. It's our roaring 20s, like I said it would be, and it's going to continue to get even more amplified as we work through our acceleration, as we work through our technology, as we work through our social media stuff. Social media to me today is really crap, to be honest with you. Social media to me is shit. I use it as a way, as a platform for positivity. So if you follow my shows, you'll know that I always come on here. I don't embrace politics anymore. I don't get into I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. It's really just that round table that we all sit at the table of life, and it's the perspective of what we bring based on our soul adventures. And I always like to remind people that my shows, Metaphysical Meetup with Marc, Inspired Living, you can open up Positive Living through your Alexa or Echo Pod. Just say, Alexa, open up Positive Living. All things based on positivity, all based on life, all based on the soul adventure, all based on Carpe Diem, all about finding the diamond within and living your life today, because you don't know when your last day is. And I've seen a lot of family and a lot of friends and a lot of fur babies make their transition over to the other side. And some you knew, some you had no idea, and some you just scratch your head and say, why do the good ones go on before us, right? They're not gone. Death doesn't mean the end. And I talked about this a couple weeks ago, that death is not extinction, death is extension. So you can get that over on my YouTube channel, or scroll down if you're on my subscribers page for the Intuitive Prospector. But being alone is not something that actually needs to be a negative kind of thing. It's embracing that solitude. And so I'm going to go through a couple of the diamonds of being alone based on my latest article. So I hope you'll enjoy this ride with me and enjoy this journey, this soul adventure this morning. Probably not going to be doing a lot of readings. I'll give some shout outs to people, my star senders, my Patreon prospectors, and my Intuitive Prospector Diamond Hub subscribers. You know who you are. If you don't know how to subscribe, again, you can go right here to marclainhart.com. That you can go to my online store and get all my subscriptions, Insight Timer, Learn It Live. Thank you to everybody that's followed me on my YouTube channel. I have no idea what happened with YouTube, but YouTube channel blew up. At one point, I was under 500 subscribers. I asked people to go check out the videos, join me on this journey every Friday at 10 a.m. to just have a metaphysical meetup, to talk about the mysteries of life, to talk about the journey of life, to talk about the unknowns of life. And my channel is about to hit 6,000 subscribers. So I'm not sure what happened, but honored and grateful, and thank you for following me on this journey. And I promise to deliver more positive content, more inspirational articles, more inspirational educational podcasts. We have a guest coming up here next week, and we're already booked out through April. So very excited to just continue to create a vibration and to help you discover the diamonds all around and the diamond within. So number one, embracing solitude. Being alone allows us to reconnect with ourselves and explore our thoughts and emotions. Now, some of you are like, I don't want to explore my thoughts and emotions. I'd rather listen to the guidance of the crazy, chaotic world. I always say the world is a vampire. If you remember that song, the world is a vampire. It's very true. It'll take. It doesn't give. So embracing solitude it's really about reconnecting with ourselves, to explore our thoughts, to explore our emotions, to be present. A lot of us are so caught up in what the past didn't deliver and what the future is going to bring, and you can't do anything about either one. You can't go back in the past unless you have a time machine that I don't know about. You can't go into the past to change things that you might want to change, and you definitely can't go into the future, because the future is not guaranteed to anybody. I've learned that flat out, that the future is not guaranteed. So what happens when we move into isolation? Like when I sit on my mat right here, this is my meditation mat, and I just sit and I connect and I sit in the silence. I sit in the present, put my hand over my heart, put my hand over my belly, put my finger to activate my third eye, my temples, right? take that sacred divine breath and just go, okay, what is today going to bring? What is the journey? What is the mystery? What is the soul adventure? And embracing solitude can lead us to self-discovery. It can lead us to personal growth and a deeper understanding of ourselves. It enables us to step away from the distractions and the noise of the world and focus on our own needs and our own desires. So if you don't do a meditative practice, I would just challenge you to try it. Give it a go. Try it 10 minutes in the shower with the water running over you, taking a series of deep breaths, and move into embracing solitude, because the article is based on the diamonds, not the negativities, but the positive and the diamonds of being alone. Now, you can get this article off my website if you want to read it verbatim. You can also get it through Best American Psychics or my other community, Ariel, spiritual consultants, if you want. So number two, so the first one is embracing solitude. Number two, reflection and self-discovery. We have the space and time to reflect on our lives, our goals, and values when we're alone. Again, you quiet that voice, that noise that is constantly around us, the distractions of the almighty smartphone, the news cycles, the chaos. And like I said, the world will continue to be a vampire. But when you move into isolation, when you move into embracing the diamonds of being alone, the reflections and discovery gives us the space and time to reflect on our lives, our goals, our values when we're alone. This introspection can also lead to self-discovery and a better understanding of who we are, not what somebody tells us. We grow up with our learned behaviors, our religious beliefs or non-religious beliefs. Like I said, here on Metaphysical Meetup, we are like a buffet of spiritual positive knowledge, a smorgasbord, and you pick and choose what you want to tune into, what you want to connect with, not what, it's not a dictatorship, right? It's always based on democracy and the will of the people, but you get to pick and choose, just like you would go to a buffet. If you want the turkey, if you want the mashed potatoes with gravy, great, you pick that. But let's say you don't want the cauliflower. Let's say you don't want the sliced carrots or the bread pudding. You don't have to. And that's what that's what my philosophy and teaching has always been about, whether it's on my shows, my podcast, my spiritual development group. It's about helping people find the journey within, the diamond within, and the many cool things that are going on around us on a daily basis. So if we step into that reflection and self-discovery, embracing solitude really just helps us, again, with that introspection to better understand ourselves, who we are. It allows us to also identify our strengths and weaknesses, and making choices and decisions that align with our authentic selves, our authentic being. I've had to really make some difficult choices over the last few weeks, the last few months, because it doesn't align with who I am and what I do and what I stand for. And so that's been, very draining, very exhausting, very frustrating. But it also reminds me, when I go into my being alone, to focus in on trust, patience, dedication, discipline, the foundations that I teach on of this journey, and not get ahead of myself. So, when you move into reflection and self-discovery, it also helps you identify your strengths and your weaknesses and your decisions and choices, because you always have free will and choice. You always have a choice to make a change. I always talk about the 3 C's in life. Make a choice, take a chance, see the change. Because if you don't take chances and you don't risk it, there's never going to be the biscuit, right? So that's always just my mantras that I follow. So number 3 is creative expression. Being alone can also foster creativity and innovation. I find this to be very true. Some of the things that I've come up with, some of the stuff I've written about, I'm like, where the heck? Like, I go back this is my first published book. I have more books that I'm working on that will come in a later date. When I go back and I read this, I didn't read this for a couple months after they were published. And you can get this at marklainhart.com or on Amazon. I went back and read some of it, and I was like, I wrote that? Like, where was I? Because I get into a creative, expressive format to do writing, and I'm like, okay, I felt like I was writing in a like a ghostwriter, a third person. There are written, you can write in first person, you can write in third person, but it was just like, wow, where did that come from? It's like, oh yeah, you sat and you just didn't let the world impact you. You moved into that solitude. You moved into that creative expression. So being alone can foster creativity and innovation. It provides the freedom to explore new ideas, engage in artistic pursuits, and experiment with different forms of self-expression. Many great artists, writers, and thinkers have credited their periods of solitude as crucial to their creative process. So if you're an artist, whether it's a musician, whether it's a writer, whether it's a painter, whether it's a poet, whether it's a producer of content like this, it's sit in that silence, sit with the process of solitude, because you may have some really eureka moments that pop in your mind and go, oh wow, that's okay, I never thought about it that way, right? So what this does when you move in, the fourth diamond is independence and self-reliance. Spending time alone can help us develop a sense of independence and self-reliance. When alone, we learn to rely on ourselves and our companionship, entertainment, and problem solving. This can lead to increased self-confidence and a greater sense of empowerment, right? So when we are in that solitude, it can create that diamond of independence and self-reliance. And you don't have to take my word for it. I always tell people, I always recommend, challenge, advise people to go do this yourself. Just take a second, even just try to sit for 3 minutes without thought. It's really difficult. So you have to build up a practice. You have to build up habits. You have to build up that dedication and that discipline and that patience. And then all of a sudden, you're really good at hearing your ego voice daily, but are you really good at hearing your higher voice, right? We were doing a master class in my weekly spiritual development group at SDG, and we listened to RuPaul, the drag queen, and I love him. He's a very kind, gentle person, and he talked about we're really good about hearing the voices in our minds, because who's the one person you're going to talk to the most in life? It's yourself, right? It's not your mom, it's not your dad, it's not your siblings, it's not your coworkers, it's yourself. And we're really good at listening to that ego voice. And I always go to the left side, because on the left side of the brain is where the analytics are, the rational, the reasoning, the ego mind. That's all here. But what we need to do is we also need to give voice to our authentic higher self. And so that's on the right side. So that's where the, Einstein always talked about the great power, imagination, education comes from the right hemisphere of the brain. And in the center of it is that pineal gland, the balance, right? So listening to your higher self, strengthening that voice of your higher self. So when the ego voice is whispering in your ear, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, you go, stop, practice the pause, move into solitude, move into a meditative state, take a breath and see if you can hear that higher voice, because you're going to always have these voices until you actually move through the process of death and dying, right? So it can bring a lot of independence and self-reliance. It can also bring that creative, expressive energy that I'm talking about, but it can also bring inner peace, right? When the Buddha was asked, what did you gain? I don't know, it might have been the Dalai Lama. It was either the Buddha or the Dalai Lama. I think it was the Buddha. What did you gain from meditation? And the Buddha responded, nothing. But let me tell you what I lost: the fear of death, the fear of fear itself, the fear of, the loss of negativity, the loss of doubt, he lost all that because he wasn't looking to gain something. He was looking to go into that mindfulness and find that inner peace, right? So I always think of, there's a new Kung Fu Panda coming out, and Kung Fu Panda 4 is coming out, and I love Kung Fu Panda. There's just so many messages within, the laughter of, the actors, Dustin Hoffman and Jack Black, but there's so many spiritual messages. And you can, if you go back to the first one, Master Sifu's sitting in solitude by himself, and Po comes running in, and you can hear Dustin Hoffman as Master Sifu say, inner peace, inner peace. And he's got his eyes closed and he's in a meditative state, and he just can't find his inner peace. And then Po comes in and crashes into him, and he's like, right? That's like the world comes crashing into us. So when we move into the diamonds of being alone, mindfulness and inner peace, being alone in our fast-paced and constantly connected world allows us to slow down and cultivate mindfulness. It provides an opportunity to be fully present in the moment, to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, That's very, very key, y'all. And to find inner peace. We're all looking for that inner peace. I know that I am. Tranquility. So finding inner peace and tranquility can come through by being alone, being in solitude, practicing the pause, meditation, qigong, whatever it is for you, get it out in nature. But also mindfulness practice has shown to reduce stress. It also enhances well-being, and it improves the overall mental health. And it's no surprise to me, because I've had my journeys and my battles and my struggles with mental health, going through what I've gone through over the years. But it's no surprise to me that mental health is exploding, because so many people are not taking time to just disconnect and move into solitude, to move into isolation. And we had an opportunity. The pandemic created an opportunity to have that isolation, and some people just literally lost their minds, right? They just didn't know what to do with all that time and silence, and didn't cultivate mindfulness and didn't cultivate inner peace. And it's no surprise to me that we're having conversations about mental health, which is a direct correlation to the mass shootings that are taking place here in the United States that we lead the world in, right? So it's just even more reason to move into, finding time for yourself each and every day, morning, afternoon, and before you go to bed, if you want. So grab your coffee, grab your tea. This morning, we're talking about the diamonds of being alone. It's my latest article that I've written. You can get that over off my website at marclainhart.com. You can get it over at Best American Psychics under those articles. Hopefully I'll have a chance to get to my newsletter. I have not had a chance to catch up with everything because, like I said, I'm going through some stuff of transition. And I'm also getting prepared for surgery that I have to, a major surgery that I have to have. So I'm just kind of emotionally and mindfully preparing for those transformations and changes that we all have to go through, right? When you've been on the planet as long as I have, you can't change gravity and you can't change age, right? Sometimes the body needs that upgrade. That I always I always think of the Terminator, and I'm going to get some Terminator upgrades put into my body to help me continue forever much time I have left on the planet. So just to recap, the last one is building meaningful connections. So this morning we're talking about the diamonds of being alone. Again, the first one is embrace solitude. The second one is reflection and self-discovery. Third one, creative, expressive type of connections. Number 4, independence and self-reliance. Number 5, mindfulness and inner peace. And number 6 is building that meaningful connection. And what I mean by that is being comfortable with being alone can enhance our ability to form meaningful connections with others. When secure in our own company, we are less likely to seek validation and fulfillment from the external sources, right? This allows us to enter into relationships from a place of authenticity and independence, and it fosters a deeper connection and healthier dynamics for our journey, or what I like to say, soul adventures. So, in conclusion, being alone is not something to be feared or avoided, but rather an art to be embraced and cultivated. It provides us with an opportunity for self-discovery, creativity, independence, and mindfulness. By learning to appreciate and enjoy our company, we build a stronger sense of self, we foster personal growth, and we cultivate meaningful connections with others. So let us not shy away from solitude, but instead embrace it as a valuable and enriching experience. And I always like to finish my articles now with my latest quote, which is, "A new day, a new opportunity, a day we have not seen before to use our intuition to prospect this wonderful world around us." So if you want to check out that article, you can get that off my site, Best American Psychics, Ariel Spiritual Community, just to, if you want to keep it for a rainy day, and just to remind you of the journey of, it's okay to embrace being alone. So I want to give some shout outs to everybody that's joining me this morning. Good morning to Shar Endo, Tara Bryant, Allison Clark. Good morning to you. Dawn Rhea, good morning. Hey, Keith Williams, good morning to my mom. She said, good morning, everyone. I'll see you very soon. We're going to go to a Kraken game. Emily, good morning to you. Claudia, good morning to you. Oh, I just lost it. Go back. Where's the comments here? All right. Good morning or good evening, Claudia. I forget you're over across the pond. Good evening to you. Lori, hello to you. Kara, good morning to you. Allison, hi. Katie, good morning to you. Chrissy, good afternoon, Marc and team, and everyone here today. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you have any questions, this will be the time. Like I said, it's not a long show today because I have to get to some other pressing needs here for my Friday with great transformation changes that I'm going through. But if you want to ask a question, I'll go ahead and do that. Let me get the again, if you want to subscribe to the page, if you go up to the Intuitive Prospector, there's a subscribe button, and it's $4.99 a month to get inside the Diamonds Hub subscription service for Facebook. I've got a couple of you that join me, and I put a lot of stuff in there, and we have a lot of fun. You know what? I'm not going to do any Zoom rooms today, just for the fact of time. But if you have a question, go ahead and just ask if you have a question, and I'll just answer it here real quick, and then I'm going to log off. Good morning, Michelle. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Claudia says, time is universal, just saying good day. Yes, time is universal, but also time is a great illusion. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is, like I said, seems to be blowing up. I'm not sure what happened with YouTube, but all of a sudden it's like on this adrenaline rush of subscribers to where I went, a couple weeks ago, I was under 500 subscribers, and all of a sudden I'm about to hit 6,000. So I'm not sure what happened, but I appreciate the follows and the subscribers. But I have a past episode of Metaphysical Meetup where I talk about time being a flat circle, because time is the great illusion. Time, we measure, we're the only species on the planet. Think about this. We're the only species on the planet that pays to live here. We're the only species on the planet that measures our life by time. We're the only species that measures our birthdays by going around a big ball of fire every 365 days. We're the only species that creates our own fear, drama, and worry. And we wonder why our world is going to pot, with the Great Divide and the politics and the wars. And more is coming. I said that this would be a Renaissance period, that our roaring 20s, I said, you can go back. You don't have to take my word for it, but you can go back to my podcast. You can go back to my former shows on YouTube or here on Facebook. And I talked about in 2018, 2019, that the 2020 decade was going to be measured in history of great transformation. We're going to learn more in just the next 30 years than we will probably the next 300 years. And what I mean by that, if you look at history after every global pandemic going all the way back, even as far back as the 1600s, which was the Black Plague, it gave rise to the modern worker. Society shifts and society accelerates. It's quite interesting. And I said after this global pandemic that we weren't going to go back to what we thought was normal, or what we classified as normal, that there would be a new normal, because that normal wasn't working for many. And it's still not there yet. But the roaring 20s is going to be a time of great renaissance. And renaissance comes after global pandemics, just so you know. And we're going to learn a lot. We're going to see a lot. We're going to witness a lot. We're going to see, continuous wars. We're going to continue to see. I mean, they just set a probe down on the moon yesterday for the first time in 50 years. Now, that's going to be interesting to watch, because if you follow the extra dimensional first contact philosophy of UFOs like I do, because I've had my own experience with that, and I don't expect you to believe what I'm saying, but I've had my own experiences when I was in the Coast Guard and saw things with my own eyes that I can't to this day tell you what I saw. I know it was intelligent. I know it wasn't of this world. This would be back in 1999, 2000. So the technology from our enemies wouldn't have been there. It wouldn't have been a drone, because they didn't exist at that time. And we're going to learn about our universe. And we just set a probe down on the moon yesterday. I haven't seen the pictures this morning. I was going to do that before the show. Hey, Bev, good to see you. But it's interesting because we were told several times not to go back to the moon. Think about this. At the end of the Apollo missions, all of a sudden we just stopped. Some blame it on the world, the politics, Vietnam, blah, 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 president, whatever that may be. But it's all of a sudden we stopped going to the moon when we were going a lot and putting a lot of resources and money towards it. And Buzz Aldrin was quoted as saying that we were told not to go back, right? Edgar Mitchell, who I've written an article that's going to be coming out about exploring what that looks like when we do realize that we're not alone in the universe. The James Webb Telescope is telling us that there are billions and billions of planets out there with life and even possible technology signatures. It tells us we may not be able to get there in our lifetime, but it tells us that we're not alone. And Buzz Aldrin said several times that when they land on the moon, they were being watched by these orbs, and that they were instructed in their minds not to go back. So it's interesting that we've gone back, we've sat down, and the Artemis project is going to start building on the moon. It's going to be interesting to see what comes from that, right? So we'll never know. I've long said now, I've worked for the federal government for over 23 years. I don't trust our government as far as I can throw it. And it won't come from our federal government. It won't come, even though they're violating our Constitution, because we have a right to know, right? We should be able to know, but they don't tell us because we don't want to incite panic and fear and collapse of society, which I don't think would happen, to be honest with you. But anywho, it won't come from media. It will come from crowdsourcing. The technology that we have through the internet, the technology of our smartphones, the technology of how we can globalize and broadcast something. That is how we're going to realize that we're not alone in the universe. And I said that this would happen during the roaring 20s, and I call it the drip, drip, drip. Every day we're getting more and more information of stuff going on that's like, how do we, deal with that? How do the people that believe in it, how do we deal with that? How do the people that don't believe in it, doesn't meet their narrative or their religious doctrines? So it's going to be quite transformative. But I said our roaring 20s would include the realization that we're not alone in the universe. Doesn't mean little green men are going to sit down and blow up the White House. I don't think that at all. But just the realization, which will advance our consciousness. If you think about it, it will advance our society, our science, our communications, our travel, our technology, the laws of physics. Everything will change when that veil is lifted of this universe that's quite mathematically incomprehensible to even mathematically figure out, right? They thought it was 9 billion years old. James Webb went out 2 years ago, looked back in time and said, oh, no, it's about 13 billion. So we were off by about 6 billion years, right? So there's just a lot of things we claim to know that we don't know. And, this roaring 20s that I've coined is going to continue to show us, who we are as humans and who we are in this place in this universe. Like I said, we're probably, I wouldn't be surprised in America if we have another civil war. I wouldn't be surprised to see with the what, observing the world, that we go to a World War III. Very different from World War II, but people, there's going to be greed and control and power, and there's people that want that, and that's just how history has been, and history repeats itself. Maybe not in the exact same way, but as Mark Twain talked about, it does have a rhyme and a rhythm, and this feels very much the time frame right before World War II, with people trying to come to power, people trying to overthrow democracy with autocracy. That has been going on, and I called this back in 2018, 2019. So sometimes it sucks to be a psychic, to see what's coming. Not ever 100% right. I never claim to be 100% right, but there are things that I've talked about that, I'm not a doom and gloom fear monger, but it's just like, what do we do when that happens? How do we embrace that? And one of the things you can do is the article that I wrote about today, the diamonds of being alone, the things that you can cultivate from a positive aspect of being in solitude and being alone, embracing that, because that started with the pandemic, and that's where we're at today. A lot more people are connected. We're more connected in the history of the world. This is the other thing that just blows my mind. We're more connected through the digital transformation, through our Zoom rooms, through our social media, through our YouTube, but we're more disconnected than we've ever been in recorded history. Think about that. We're more connected, but we're more disconnected. We're more divided. Shoot, I just saw a huge fight here in Tacoma where there was like, at an apartment complex, and these people, there was like 30 people all fighting. And we see it from the levels of society to sporting events now. We're actually seeing it in sporting events. And it's just like, we need to work through our aggressive type of behavior. And that's the only way that we're going to advance, because if we don't, the alternative is we go back to the medieval times. And I know Einstein had always said he doesn't know what World War III will look like, but World War IV would be fought with sticks and stones. So that tells you something of, and maybe that's where we need to go. Maybe we need to go back to basics. Maybe we need to go back to simplicity, right? And so solitude can, some of the things that I see not only come from my meditations and from my dreams, some of the things that I write about and I talk about and discuss with you here on Metaphysical Meetup with Mark Live, is also from the being in the solitude, being out in nature, being like, oh, that's going to come down. Because one of the other positive things that I see, even with all this chaos that is encircling us right now within the world, or maybe where you're at in the world with your relationships or your career, I know I'm included in that with my transformation currently, with my health and my career, is I also see this great coming together. Now, I don't know, I've asked many times, but I don't get that answer of what is going to be the catalyst, what is going to be the trigger that brings people together. That could be anything from nature. I live here in the Pacific Northwest. It's a beautiful place, lots of green, lots of water, lots of big mountains that could explode anytime, earthquakes. If you go east, a couple states over, we have a super volcano that's laying dormant at Yellowstone that could upend and change society. Realizing we're not alone in the universe, comets. We do go around a big ball of fire, y'all. So we're in a very balanced, delicate, environment that we forget about. And these events will bring people together. So I do see this great coming together that I started talking about in 2018 when I had a vision of seeing people from all walks of life, all ages, all sexes, all different backgrounds coming together to realize that we're humans celebrating this human experience of what we call life. And putting all of the religious aside, putting all the politics aside, and just embracing the human experience. And I just coined it the great coming together. So I have that to look forward to. So and again, you can start to tap into your higher self and bring that voice of your authentic self, your higher self, up to counter your ego voice, your self-sabotage voice, your negative voice, and try to, as RuPaul was saying in the masterclass, try to listen more to your authentic higher self voice than you do your ego voice. But the only way to get into that voice and to hear that voice is to move into solitude, to move into silence. Rumi talked about this. Lao Tzu talked about this. Gandhi talked about this. The Dalai Lama talks about this. Krishna talked about this. Muhammad talked about this. Jesus talked about this. The more silent and still you become, the more you'll actually hear. The more silent and still you become. Stillness means that you're not engaging your brain to move your body, right? So when you become still, try it. Try to sit for, give yourself a practice. Try for 5 minutes to sit in a chair with no movement, only your breath, and try to watch your thoughts and see if you can actually hear more. It's quite fascinating, to be honest with you. So, hey, Bev, good morning. Hey, Joe. Good morning, Christine. Good morning. Good to see you. So that's my message for today, to finding the diamond within. I hope you have a fantastic Friday, a great rest of your weekend. Again, if you want to journey with me, I try to be here on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for Metaphysical Meetup with Marc Live. You can also catch my past shows over on my YouTube channel, Soul Adventures. Just look for my name or the Intuitive Prospector. You can do an internet search. It's very easy to find. Or go to my main site, one-stop shop for everything, marclainhart.com. We will have I believe we are scheduled for a show Wednesday, the 28th. And then we're into March, y'all. Where's the time going? Again, cultural acceleration includes time speeding up. It's already going to be March of 2024. That is just crazy, right? It's just there's so much going on, so many things that are happening. Hey, Caroline. So if you have any questions, I'll take your questions now. Hey, Denise, good to see you. Thanks for being here. If you don't have any questions or you want me to pull a quick card for you, I'm happy to do that. I'm not going to open up the Zoom room today. Just for the fact I've got about 10 minutes. I said I'd give myself an hour to come on and chat with you and connect with you and take any questions you might have, or see if I can tune into something for you. Again, I work with my star sender, so if you want to be a star sender, it just helps buy my coffee each and every show. Just click on that. It says star senders, or if you're a Patreon prospector, I know who you are because you're in a membership group outside of this, or a Diamonds Hub subscriber because you'll have a green heart that shows you that you're in the Diamonds Hub as a subscriber. Which is only, again, $4.99. You spend more for a cup of coffee at Starbucks than you do to hang out with me. Good morning to my team as well. I forgot to give you all a shout out. My team of moderators that moderate the comments, make sure that we keep our community filled with encouragement and motivations and not spam and people, trying to get you to go to their site to get a reading and all that bullshit. So they're the moderators that keep the comments clean, keep the platform positive. Because that's how I operate with social media. I try to be as positive and inspirational, encouraging as I can, because myself, I'm a broken soul. I've gone through a lot in my 51 years here on the planet, and I can share with you, and I can empathize at a deeper level that many people can't. And I didn't know that would be my calling, to be a writer, to be a producer, to be a host, 20 years ago. But that's where I'm at. That's what I do. So I hope to journey with you, continue the journey in prospecting, to help you find that diamond within. Hey, Joanne, good to see you. So I don't see any questions coming in, but I wanted to just say thank you to my team, my inspirational team over on Inspired Living. You know who you are. My team here on Facebook that moderate the comments. My spiritual development group, my tribe. They've helped me every week to get through some very trying times that I've been dealing with. So I just want to say thank you. I'm always grateful. I always try to move to an attitude for gratitude and just say thank you to all of you subscribers that blew up my YouTube channel. I don't know. Again, I've been asking the universe, like, what changed? Like, I've been on YouTube for a couple years now, and I was like, hey, help me get over 500 subscribers. When you get more subscribers on whether it's TikTok or YouTube, you're able to do more things as a content creator. And like I said, we're about to hit 6,000 subscribers. So thank you. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate the follow and the subscription. Claudia says, just keep the tradition going. I would love a card picked by you. All right, let's go to my atoms card. I call these the atoms because it reminds me of the nuclear atom, right? Because the nuclear capability. If any of you have you seen the new show where we created the atom bomb, then it went on to become the nuclear bomb. Oh my God, I just totally lost the. It's a great show too. But this reminds me of the atom, right? Because we in the late 1940s, it ended World War II. Because we dropped bombs on Japan, it ended the World War. They had World War II that killed over estimated 50 million people. Oppenheimer, who created the atom. This is what these cards remind me. So this tells me this is like a creation card. So for you, Claudia, the card I picked this morning is the purpose card. What's your purpose? What's your purpose and plan and passions for being here in this journey? It's a green, so it's matters of the heart. The green energy is all around the chakra of the heart. So Claudia, what's your purpose? It's a great question to ask, because I ask all the time, what's my purpose? What's my plan? What are my passions? I always tell people the secret of life is getting paid to do what you love. I love doing this. I love helping people, inspiring people, talking to people, communicating with people, writing, and getting paid to do that. So that's my purpose. And it took me many, many years to find that diamond within. And now I share that with others. So Claudia, go after your purpose, my friend. Find your purpose. If you don't know what that is, for those of you that are seeing that card saying, Mark, I don't know how to get to my purpose, go into solitude. Jesus went out into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, came back with some pretty interesting information. The book that I'm reading, The Rocking Chair Prophet, went out into nature for many, many years, came back, sat in the rocking chair, and downloaded wisdom and knowledge that is there for everybody. I believe that it is there, just like the Wi-Fi. It's, it's in the cloud, if you will, and you can tap in and tune into what you want to download and what you want to listen. And again, going back to, the words of Rumi or Lao Tzu, the more silent and still you become, the more you'll actually start to hear. So, hi, Angela. Interesting. I just said no to a new job because it wasn't what I was meant to do. Yeah. And sometimes we do take jobs to make money, to buy shit we can't take with us when we die anyway, and just to sustain ourselves while we're here on Earth, right? Again, we're the only species that pays to live here. And a lot of people, I was just watching a show the other day, Up in the Air with George Clooney. Great show. They would travel around not actually, it's not a great show. It's a good show, but the message is like harsh, because they would fly around. His whole life was spent in airplanes flying around to different companies to fire people. And one of his things would say, you took this job giving up on your dream. Now I'm giving you the opportunity to go live your dream. So go live your dream. Go find your purpose, because I guarantee you this world would be a much better place if people were following their purposes and their passions, versus just making an almighty dollar for the big corporations or the governments, just to have all that money, right? Because again, at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. And I've always been fascinated with the money. Now, my wife would probably tell you a different story for money. But again, think about this. We're the only species that chops down trees, turns the trees into paper, which is money. Think about it, right? Money is made out of paper. Where does that paper come from? Paper comes from trees, comes from nature. But then we turn around and print out paper, and then write on the paper, save the trees, and post it on the tree. Messed up, man. Totally messed up. It's just mind-blowing sometimes how illogical or ignorant or blind that we can be on our journey. And once you're awake, y'all, once you've awakened and been unplugged from the matrix, you don't get to be plugged back in. So trust me, there are many times where I'm like, this awakening shit has been tough. It's been transformative. It's been healing. I can look back at it now, but when you're going through it, it's like the shaking caused the awakening, and then you awaken to something bigger than yourself, the diamond within, and you realize that the world is an illusion, that the world is and even RuPaul was talking about this. You're born, because he's a famous drag queen, and you're born naked and everything else is drag. Think about it. Even though he just dresses up as a woman in drag, we all put on our drag, whether it's a suit to go be a lawyer, whether it's a suit to go be a politician, whether it's a dress to be a ballerina. We all dress up in certain parts of drag, but at the end, it's only temporary, right? It's only just the illusion of what we wanted to be and why we're here. So Denise says, good morning, Mark. I'll take a card of your choosing, please. Thank you. You bet. So Denise, for you, I'm just gonna stay with the Atom card. The card I have for you this morning is the feel. Feel to heal, heal to feel. This red is all about the lower chakras. Chakras of foundation, root, sacral, base chakra, money, career, sexuality. That's, so trust into moving to feel the things versus thinking the things, right? I always tell my students, observe, don't absorb, right? And sometimes we can absorb the wrong things. So that's what I'd say for you this morning, my friend. And that's for Denise. And thanks for being a follower. Thanks for being here this morning. I appreciate you. All right. Why do a job I'm not happy with? There is no need for me to rush, but I see little hints there and there. Pay attention to the pattern. Pay attention to the signs, the symbols, the synergy, the synchronicities. when you become aware and you've awakened from, you've had the blinders pulled off and you're not just, just working a 9 to 5 job in a flesh suit, to go home, sleep, or eat, sleep, wake up, and do it all again, everything changes. Your world changes. In the masterclass I was watching with RuPaul, same thing. He talked about how things, once you move and you trust and you believe in that, your focus becomes your new reality. And it's the same thing. So pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the synergy of who you are as a person, the energy in your heart, and the energy. Everything that you see in my studio here is energy. That's why I have the Star Wars posters up, the force that resonates through us. Gandhi talked about this. If you tap into that force, that authenticity, that knowingness, your life changes in pretty amazing ways. And again, to even see RuPaul talk about this in the masterclass on Wednesday, was like, yeah, you're right. It even changed for him. And so, move into the pay attention also, Claudia, of the synchronicities. Einstein talked about synchronicities back, we're talking in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, when he wrote the theory of relativity, and had a direct impact on creating the atom bomb. Now, he didn't actually create it, but his notes and his mathematics and equations based on energy and matter gave Oppenheimer the ability to build the atomic bomb. But Einstein, if you haven't seen it, it's a great movie. It's typical of how we use our scientists. And when I say reuse, the government uses to get what they want, and then they turn it to weapons of war, right? It did end World War II, but at what cost, right? That could be debated and has been debated for many times, but Einstein had a direct correlation to building the atomic bomb with his knowledge and his equation, but it was Oppenheimer that actually created it. But then Einstein later said, does a mouse build its own mousetrap, right? Us as humans built that, that nuclear bomb. We built our own mousetrap, and it changed society and consciousness ever since then. So it's very interesting. If you follow the masterclass series, there's a ton of great people. It's worth the membership. I'm a member. We have different, in group, we do different things. And one of the things we do is watch different people on masterclass. And this week it was RuPaul. And I think the tribe really liked it. So, and then we applied what RuPaul said, sit in the silence. And today's, show was all about the diamonds of being alone, the article that I wrote. So I hope that helps. Hey, Ruby Jane. Glenda Clark, good morning to you. Katie says, love RuPaul, the positive message to love yourself. Lucky you to have him in your masterclass. Way cool. Yeah, there's a lot of great people that, like I said, if you're not familiar with masterclass, subscribe to it. It's awesome. I watch it, and then usually I share that with my tribe for them to glean that information and knowledge. But just sitting in the silence can help you to, like I said, all those diamonds I've listed out for you. So if I missed your question, we're at the time now where if I missed your question, my apologies. Sometimes the algorithms here on social media and Facebook, I don't always get to see your comments. So if I missed your comment, you've asked me a question specifically, go ahead and put bump with some stars. Say bump, stars, and then your question again. That just helps me as the show goes on. We get a lot more comments, and then I can answer you, and then we'll finish. So, and if we don't have any more, I'm not doing the Zoom room today. Just for the fact that I've got too much stuff on my plate, and I gotta get to work on other things. So I don't see any other questions coming in. No bumps. Okay, let me pick a song to close this out. Something fun, right? The song I opened the show up today was with it's called Heart Song, Spends Quality, and The World Will Not Forget Us by Masbu K. So all of my music that I use is always approved by Meta. It's copyright free, trademark free. So I like to play music because music is a big part of the journey, right? So I'm going to do Why Not Today by Sleeping Lion. So wherever you're at in this journey, hey, Bernadette, you're welcome, Claudia. Have a great weekend. Wherever you're at in this world, this chaotic world, this uncertainty, this unknowing, if you're worrying filled with worry or doubt or depression or anxiety or suicidal ideologies or thoughts, move into the silence, move into you, move into trusting the silence and the stillness and the solitude, because so much more can be gained from going within versus listening to all the bullshit that's all around us. So I hope that you'll take that message to heart. Again, you can get that article here on Facebook on my Intuitive Prospector page, or it's shared with my Subscribers Hub on Patreon or the Diamonds Hub here on Facebook, marklainhart.com. It's not on my YouTube channel. I don't post my articles on YouTube. So, but that's the Diamonds of Being Alone. And then there's a few other articles that are going to be coming out here, one about aliens. So I hope that you'll enjoy that. Hi, Nadia. So until our next soul adventure together, I always like to close my shows with, whether it's my podcast or my show here, no matter where you're at, wherever you're going through, take that breath, practice the pause, be a human being. And most importantly, be kind, be compassionate, be caring to one another. We need more of that in our world. And most importantly, as a prospector in life, prospecting for all the diamonds that are out there, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. And I'll see you next time here on Metaphysical Meetup with Marc Live, here on the Intuitive Prospector channel, or over on my YouTube channel, Soul Adventures. Until then, have a great, fabulous weekend. And I will see you next time. Hi, Wendy. All right. Take care, everybody. Namaste.
Said I wanna leave and see the mountains. Said I really wanna hit the road, but no matter what I said, it's all just in my head. In reality, I've yet to go, 'cause I think I'll do it later. Better now to wait, but you go ahead and throw a different plan my way. Why not today? Why not today? You got your life to waste. Don't wait around for circumstance to go your way. Why not today? Why not today? Just go now, it's okay. Escape now from your cage. You've got your life to waste. Why not today? Why not today? While I'm whistling this tune, and we'll eat homemade pasta in any city we want to. Pack a bag and say, come on, let's go. 'Cause we could do this later, I'm sure it's worth the wait. But I think we have a better plan in place. Why not today? Why not today? You got your life to waste. Don't wait around for circumstance to go your way. Why not today? Why not today? Just go now, it's okay. Escape now from your cage. You've got your life to waste. Why not today? Why not today?
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.